Hey everybody, Lorraine Lewis here from Vixen. I am currently on Metal Mania. I am stoked to be here and stick around because we're going to talk about all sorts of fun stuff.
I tell you what, totally off topic, but the Pantera news that's come through recently, everyone just has an opinion on it, don't they? And they're very one way or another. There's no middle ground.
Yeah, and you know, the way I feel about it, and we can go ahead and start rolling whenever you want. I mean, the way I feel about it in general is whoever steps in to do the job, we are doing our best to keep the legacy and the music alive. That's what we're doing. So these are, I mean, Pantera, an awesome band. We can't help the fact that things are different in 2022, but all of us are doing our best just to keep it that rock and roll never dies. So it's unfortunate that everybody has an opinion about everything, but you know, I just want to keep the rock and roll train going. That's my job. Love it. It's the same thing with Vixen. Jan is gone. The original founder of Vixen is gone. There is nothing we can do about that. So do we just call it a day and pack our bags and go home? Hell no. Let's keep it going. Let's make it fun. Let's give the fans what they want. They want to hear the music. Let's make it a great show. And let's all come together as the rock and roll family that we know and we love ourselves to be. That's how I feel. Look, we are alive, we are kicking, we are still rocking and rolling. And why do we call it a day? Why should we call it a day? Why should we go home? Why should we just sit at home saying, oh, the good old days, the good old days? The good old days can be now. All of that is now. We are still alive, we are still kicking, we are happy, and we are stoked to be still doing this, that the fans are showing up for all of these shows is amazing. You know, the Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Poison, Joan Jett tour is massive, massive. And why would any of us want to call it a day and not keep the rock and roll alive? I have no idea. And even though, I mean, it is a beautiful thing that all of those bands are intact. However, they've been able to put them all together, and that is fantastic. But even Def Leppard is not 100% the original members, you know, but it's about the music. People forget, maybe it's about the music. That's all it's about. You know, I saw a photo of Tommy Lee with John Travolta on Tommy Lee's Instagram. And it gave me chills, really, because it's like Motley Crue, the legacy, the music, Motley Crue, no matter if you like them, love them, hate them, whatever, doesn't matter. They are a staple of rock and roll. You see a photo of John Travolta, a major artist, a major actor, very, very high up there on the list of the best actors of all time, hanging out with Tommy Lee, one of the best drummers of all time, at a Motley Crue show. I mean, it just shows you how music and rock and roll, and the 80s in particular, or any genre really, just is massive glue for all of the people in that age group. You know, it was a beautiful thing to see that photo, because it just tells you just how enormous the Motley Crue catalog is, that it would touch someone like John Travolta to be there with Tommy to see the show. That's amazing. Absolutely. You can't turn your back on that. It is a part of all of us, you know, all of us. And I want to hear and see all of the music from the 80s and the 90s and everything that I love. Like, there is no reason to stop ever. So I'm not stopping. Yes, we've got Kiss Cruise coming up. Oh my gosh, we've got 2 cruises coming up on the calendar. You know, I actually literally just got back 2 days ago. We were in Enfield, Connecticut, and we were in Fargo, North Dakota. I just got back Wednesday night. Amazing crowds, amazing shows. I mean, people turn up for these shows. It's not like there's, you know, 50 people in the crowd, even though we would still rock our asses off for 50 people in the crowd. But these are massive fairs and venues, and people are coming to the shows. So we just got back. I've got 9 days off, and then we hit the road again. We've got quite a calendar. Vixen official femfatale.com is where you can find dates. But yeah, we've got a string of dates, the 26th, the 27th, 28th, 29th, lots in August. I think we're going to be in Los Angeles towards the end of August. And, you know, the calendar's pretty full. I mean, we are happy to be back. You know, 2019 was a really good year that was like my first kickoff full year. I think we did 28 dates. And then we only did the Monsters of Rock cruise for 2020, and everything was quiet for everyone. And to be coming back and to have, I think we're doing 23 dates so far this year. That's almost up to speed of what we were in 2019. So I know that there's talk about Europe as well for possibly 2023. So lots of things going on. And we're very excited to be out on the road and just having people show up and bring their catalog of photos and magazine articles from back in the 80s that they always bring and want us to sign. And it feels so good to be able to connect with the people. That's what it's all about for me.
You get to see just how your music touches other people's lives.
It's shocking. It is shocking. You have no idea until you do these shows and people show up. And if you're lucky, you get a chance to really have a conversation with someone. You know, a lot of times with the VIPs that we do, that's a really great time for fans to be able to really connect with us, because you get to see us, you know, kind of, I mean, I always have eyelashes on, but, you know, during sound check, we're a little bit more toned down. We're just trying to make sure that everything is right. And that is a really great way for people to be able to connect with us. We get to have conversations with people during the meet and greet VIP, and they get to listen to a sound check and take pictures with us. And that's very often where I will find stories of people of how we've either the music has helped them through something, or I remember this show back in and it helped me come out of my shell. I mean, there was a gentleman in Oklahoma that he told me a story in Oklahoma of when he first saw the Femme Fatale videos, that it just hit something in him. This is a gentleman that is now a drag queen. And he told me that because he saw me on stage, when he saw the videos, it basically gave him the confidence to be whatever he wanted to be, is what he told me. And he has a career as a drag queen. He's an amazing man. He's an amazing person. He's super fun. And you just never know the impact that you have until you start talking to people. And that just makes me feel so good that he had a dream to do something. He was in Oklahoma. He wasn't sure how he was going to do it, but something that he connected with me in a video of me kind of like not giving a flip, pretty much, gave him the confidence to live his life and be the best version of himself. And that, I get teary-eyed actually, because that is what it's about. It's about family and community, and not judging other people and just accepting people for who they are and rocking and rolling. And that's just an amazing gift that we have. So yes, I love connecting with people.
It seems to be a different format that they use now, and I prefer the older one, to be honest. But you know, again, we're going back to opinions, aren't we?
I know. Well, look, I like Facebook the way it was 5 years ago. I can't even navigate Facebook anymore. It makes me crazy. But yeah, MTV was the shit, man. I mean, that was like the coolest thing ever. My parents actually got a subscription to MTV when our videos were playing, which is kind of adorable when you think about it. But yes, MTV used to be super, super fun. And that's where we would all go and just be able to watch Headbangers Ball and just, you know, eat it all up, what was going on in rock and roll, from Bowie to LA Guns to just everything. So I miss those days, but at the same time, you know, that's where we need to really support the local talent, the mainstream talent, the big events that come into town. People need to get out and go support the bands, the local bands, and support the bigger bands that have maybe had record deals years ago that are coming through your town. We all really need to support each other and come out so we can keep this thing going. That's how I feel about it. Yeah, look, I am an open book. I will talk about anything. I am a Libra, so I am kind of like always figuring things out. I have my hand in a lot of different projects at all times. Look, I love music. I love country music. Love writing. I love all of it. So when, during the course of my career, I was so lucky to land a record deal with MCA Records and with Femme Fatale. I mean, that was one of the greatest moments of my life, and being on tour with Cheap Trick was amazing. They were great to us. I learned a lot of vocal tips from Robin. He doesn't talk during the day. He doesn't say a word. So when I'm on the road, typically I just, the girls all kind of know that I'm not really going to say too much, or I get my phone out and I text them this and that. Yeah, it's been a really fun, wild ride for sure. The MCA record deal was amazing. I was thinking that we were going to get another album out, but then things just kind of changed and we all kind of moved on. But then, music has always been a part of me. So I was just kind of writing at home, and I was kind of raised on Linda Ronstadt and the Allman Brothers. I mean, I come originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico, so that kind of music was kind of around all the time, and that was kind of in my soul. So for a lot of people, even though it was David Lee Roth that really triggered me into wanting to do rock and roll, and Tina Turner, country or country-esque music has always been a kind of a part of me. One of my first cover bands that I was in was a band called West Wind, and it was a country band, and I used to sing Linda Ronstadt covers all day long. So it really wasn't such a stretch for me to dabble in the Nashville scene for a minute, because if you know me, I mean, it's kind of just part of who I am. So I definitely had a blast doing that. I love Nashville, did some recording out there, have some really great songs from that time. And then, yeah, it was 2013 that I was asked to put Femme Fatale together to be on the Monsters of Rock cruise. And at that point, my guitar player, Bill D'Angelo, had passed away. I think he's been gone for about 7 or 8 years at this point. And so I knew that we couldn't get the original members back. And I've always wanted to be in an all-girl band, to believe it or not. I mean, I was always like, that Vixen band, man, like they've got it made, girl power and like a slumber party, girls hanging out and being supportive of each other. So there was always a little something in me that wanted to be and experience an all-female lineup. So when it was time to put a band together, I called some friends in LA. I asked who the best guitar players were, the local guitar players in LA. And it was Courtney Cox and Nita Strauss from the Iron Maidens. And so I met with them at a Starbucks, and I told them what was going on, that I was putting Femme Fatale together again for the Monsters of Rock cruise. It was going to be all female, and would they be interested? Funny enough, they told me that about a week before I called them, that they were driving around LA and Waiting for the Big One came on the radio. And Nita said, that's the kind of singer we need. That's the kind of music we need to be doing. And lo and behold, the universe really knew what it was doing, because a week later I called them. So really kind of an amazing thing to have that all come together. Nita Strauss, Courtney Cox, obviously eventually Nita went on to join Alice Cooper. And actually now Nita is a part of Demi Lovato's band and touring band. So from Femme Fatale to Alice Cooper to Demi Lovato, kind of amazing. But the original lineup, or I should say the lineup for the Monsters of Rock cruise, was Nita Strauss, Courtney Cox, Janice Tanaka, who toured with L7, amazing bass player, Rachel Ryan, who was a great drummer, originally from New Mexico, and also Athena, who is an amazing drummer as well, obviously sister of Tommy Lee, and then Kat Scarlett on keyboards. And I'll tell you, we were together for 7 years. We had so much fun. We did so many great shows together. I love those girls. They're my sisters. They're amazing. Eventually, Nita, she joined Alice Cooper, and that's when Nikki Stringfield came in from the Iron Maidens. And I adore those girls. They're all doing great things and keeping the music alive. So then, I'm thinking all is done with Femme Fatale, because I kind of reached a point where it was all just getting to be too much. during the day and during the week, I actually am a casting producer. I work in television. I've been in the TV business for about 10 years. And I was thinking at the time, I'm going to put the music to rest now. I've had my fill. I think I'm done. So I called up our booking agent and I said, Sullivan, I think I'm done. I think we've had a really good run with Femme Fatale, and I think I'm going to call it a day. The very next day, Roxy called me from Vixen and said, hey, we might be making a change here. We're not exactly sure what's going on. You know, things are kind of changing and shifting, not really sure. You are our first choice to be the lead singer of Vixen. And I said, oh my goodness, this is so interesting that you're calling me, because I just basically quit the music business last night. And she said, what do you mean? I said, I'm done. I'm like done. She said, what do you mean done? Like done? I said, I think I'm done. But there was also, I think I'm done. I mean, the wheels were clicking here. So long story short, she told me that they wanted me to step in and be the lead singer of Vixen. It didn't take me long to realize, hell yeah, I want to be the lead singer of Vixen. I've known Roxy and Cher for years. I actually had a project with Roxy many years ago called Rocktopus. We did a couple of shows together, recorded with Michael Wagner, infamous a recording producer. And we had a lot of fun. And then I had a cover band, a rock and roll cover band called LA Nookie in Hollywood. And Cher was my bass player for a minute with that project. So me and the girls go way back to that. Now, back in the 80s, did we hang out? No, we didn't. And I don't know why we didn't. I really don't know. I don't know if they were all living in LA at the time. I'm not really sure if they were spread out or not, but damn, I wish that we could go back in time and relive that a little bit, because we would have been like the biggest girl mob ever. And it would have been really, really a lot of fun. But here we are, 30 some years later. I am the lead singer of Vixen. We are having the best time. We were just in the studio with Fred Coury from Cinderella, recording a new song, brand new song. I was thinking it would be out by now. It is not, but that is only because he is still mixing and it's going to be mastered, etc. So I'm hoping sometime this summer, but there is new music coming. Also, after this string of dates that we've got going on in July, in August, we're going to be in Boston for about a week, and we're all going to be working on new music there as well, and writing and recording together. So lots going on. We also have a song that I wrote a couple of years ago when things shut down, and I think that we're going to be recording that with Toby Wright, who is another great famous producer that has worked with Heart. And oh my gosh, so many other people, so many other bands. So there's a lot of things cooking in the Vixen camp for sure. So stay tuned, everybody. It's getting exciting. Well, most of my stuff that I would want to share is very secretive. But I will say I have had a blast. I have had lots and lots of fun with lots of rock and roll guys that are in other bands, etc. that, now we're like brother and sister, which is really fun. I will share with you that Mark Slaughter and I were, back in the day, we both didn't have an apartment. We had nowhere to live. And we basically, our wardrobe girl, Jackie King, she was amazing. I mean, she would put something together for me when I was going to be on some event for MTV and overnight it, and it would look fabulous and fit me perfectly. And she was doing clothes for Mark Slaughter as well. And we had nowhere to go. So after we got off tour, like, I didn't have an apartment. He didn't have an apartment. Like, nobody had an apartment but Jackie. And so very, very often I would spend the night over at Jackie's on the couch, and Mark would be there too. And he'd be like sleeping on the chair. I'd be sleeping on the couch. We'd switch off, and it was just one big happy rock and roll family, just kind of taking care of each other. We just did a show with Mark Slaughter and Slaughter just a couple nights ago. And I did mention that story over the microphone, that we kind of shared a couch. I mean, we were all just kind of trying to make the best of rock and roll. And, we didn't have a lot of money back then. And same thing with Tammy from Faster Pussycat. When I got off the road, I didn't have anywhere to go. And he offered to have me stay at his place as well. So just friends and family. I mean, at this point, we are all family. I mean, I call them my brothers. All of them are my brothers. It's very, very cool to have such a rock and roll family that is cool, people that understand what it's like to be on the road, and people that you can relate to, people that are authentic. There's no nicer people than people like Tammy and Mark Slaughter and, just so many of the guys and girls that do what we do. Not everybody understands this. If you haven't been on tour or you haven't, experienced that lifestyle, it's different. It's not for everybody. It's not for the faint of heart. And it's really great when we get to connect like bands like Autograph, I've known them for years and years and years. And we all get each other, and no weirdness ever, just praise and support and fun, lots and lots of fun, standing on the side of the stage when Tesla's playing and looking over and thumbs up and screaming, when they do something cool on stage or hit that note or what have you. We're all there to support each other and lift each other up. It might sound really boring that we are all such a great, happy rock and roll family, but it really is the truth. There's no drama, especially these days. We all love each other. It's pretty cool. Gosh, there are so many. I would say one of the most memorable things for me that happened when I was actually touring with Femme Fatale is we had already been on stage. Cheap Trick was getting ready to go on stage. There were these big curtains. I want to say it might have been Joplin, Missouri. I'm not exactly sure, but it was a really, it was a decent venue, probably 10,000 people. And we were kind of waiting, the first time I've been on the road, I really didn't know what the F was going on 100%. And just kind of going with the flow and waiting for Cheap Trick to come on. And somehow the curtain opened up a little bit and the fans saw the band. They saw, Bobby and Billy and Rick and Mozzie. And I didn't know what was going on, but I just heard this swell of like fans screaming. And I was like, oh my God, I just got chills right now talking about this. And I was like, oh my God, like what's going on? And the first thing that popped into my head is, oh my God, maybe David Lee Roth is here to see the show. I was like, oh my God. And so I went and I peeked out, and that swell when the fans saw me was 5 times more, 10 times more of what it had been. And I was like, oh my God, it's because of us. They recognize us. They love us. They saw us on MTV. And that was a moment I'll never forget. Like that was hella fun to know that you had connected with people. They knew who you are in a small town, miles and miles away from LA. That felt really good. I will also say another memorable moment was traveling in the South with Femme Fatale and Cheap Trick, and we were in our tour bus. It was amazing. I actually had the back room of the bus was my room. I had it all to myself. I didn't have to sleep in a bunk, which was kind of amazing. And although I would have, but it was nice to be the girl and have the back room. And when we got to the South, I believe we were in Alabama. And our tour manager, Wilf Wright, said, okay, everybody stay inside. I don't want anybody wandering away. We're not going to go into the venue until we're all ready to walk as a group with security. And the reason being is because there were churchgoers with signs basically calling me every name in the book and basically saying that we were devil worshipers and all sorts of stuff. They were picketing our show, picketing rock and roll, trying to take rock and roll down. And, it was a crazy thing. I remember looking out of my window and just being like, what the hell is going on? What is with these people? Like, this is a rock and roll show. Like, come to the show, let's have fun. And I couldn't really understand it. But yes, we were in the Bible Belt, and the Bible Belt was alive and well and did not like that rock and roll had come to town, and that female fronted rock and roll, a girl that liked to flash and have fun and was sexually just kind of over the top, maybe for some people. I didn't give a flip. I have fun on stage. I rock and roll. I don't care what anybody thinks of me. It's all good fun. Nothing bad, nothing terrible. So that was really memorable. I'll never forget that. That was like, holy cow. You know, you're talking about a girl that was raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico, living in Hollywood, hadn't really traveled that much around the United States. So that was a real eye opener for me. And I wonder where those people are now. I mean, that's just so crazy to think. In 1988, people were picketing rock and roll, and me in particular, calling me an SLUT. So whatever, it's all good. I'm still here. It's crazy to even think that that even happened. Just crazy to think that that happened. But, you know, and then other great moments. I mean, I was managed by Howard Kaufman, who managed Heart. You know, I was really close with Ricky Rocket from Poison. You know, I remember going to the MTV Awards with him on the back of his Harley. You know, there's just so many fun, great memories, you know, Sunset Strip days, and just so many fun things that have gone on in my life. And I'm still here to tell about it, which is hella cool. The first album that I bought was Up, Up and Away in My Beautiful Balloon, The Fifth Dimension. My father had an RCA membership, and they'd have this cutout from a newspaper or a magazine with all of these albums that you could get for like $1 or a penny, or can't remember exactly what it was, but he gave it to each of us kids. I come from a family of 6 children. He gave it to each of us and had us pick out something. And I picked out The Fifth Dimension, Up, Up and Away. And that was my first album. And I love that song. Even to this day, it's just kind of happy dappy, which is kind of how I am, happy dappy. And then the first concert I went to, I want to say it was, see, I have like a jog memory on this. It's hard for me to just put a flag in it. It was either David Bowie with War, or it was Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And I kind of blur that somehow because it was all around the same time. But I remember with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, I went with a girlfriend of mine. Her father was a judge. We put some alcohol concoction together in a Wesson oil bottle and stuck it in my pants and got into the venue. We drank it all. We got sick. I mean, it was awesome. And her dad came and picked us up after the show and knew that we were drunk and never let her hang out with me again. That's kind of how it goes. I'm a very bad influence. And then the Bowie War concert, people rushed the door, and that's the first time I experienced tear gas, because there were people that didn't have tickets that tried to get into the show. They busted down the doors. Police came. A riot ensued. It made the Albuquerque paper, and I got pushed against a trash can, and I had never experienced tear gas before. And me no likey. Yeah, my dad always had Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass on. He sang in church. His mother, my grandmother, was actually a singer on the radio. She was also a flamenco dancer. And my dad's side of the family is originally from Spain. My mother's side of the family is originally from New Mexico, Nuevo Mexico. And yeah, I think that my grandmother is where I got the singing genes from, and just music in the house. I mean, it was just our thing. And I love my dad for bringing the gift of music to us. I did take viola lessons when I was in elementary school, and unfortunately, it was a rented viola. And when I was putting it back into the case, I cracked it. And I grew up pretty poor, 6 kids, dad that didn't make a lot of money, raised us well, but yeah, I didn't get a viola after that. I was kind of like, that was done. But I did pick up my mom's guitar. She had a Stella guitar. I do play guitar. I'm not a great guitar player, but I use it as a writing tool whenever I feel the need. And yeah, I just would just write silly little songs in the living room when friends would come over of my parents. And songs like, come down to my place, we'll have some fun. Come down to my place, yes, come everyone. Stuff like that. So I just got the bug to go for music. And in college, I had no really idea what I was going to do. I was in a band that was playing at all the fraternity and sorority parties. Then I saw Van Halen and David Lee Roth. And that's when I decided I wanted to be David Lee Roth. And I didn't stop. So yeah, that's my story. Yeah, he's a showman through and through. Look, I have learned to love Sammy Hagar, but when David left Van Halen, I mean, I was like, no, David all the way. But interestingly, now I find myself in a similar situation because I am the lead singer of Vixen and not the very original lead singer of Vixen. And so I take back all I said about Sam. I love him. He's actually really fabulous, an amazing songwriter, an amazing voice, and an amazing presence. And so I take back all of that because Van Halen is alive and well, and Sammy Hagar is alive and well with everything that he's been doing. So but yes, David Lee Roth, when I first saw him, I just thought he was so cool. He always comes out crotch first on stage. And I have been accused of kind of the same thing. And that's okay, because that's where I get it from. I love you, Dave. Tina Turner, for sure. Just the fact that she was just ballsy, gutsy, gorgeous, nonstop, dancing in high heels and just an animal. Oh, I love Tina Turner so much, so much. So bands like obviously Van Halen, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Linda Ronstadt, someone that could belt. I mean, that's the kind of singer I am. I'm a belter. My voice is not a super trained voice. I just grab and go is my thing. I am energy. I am going for it. Nothing's going to stop me. And that's kind of, Tina Turner-ish. That's a little bit Linda Ronstadt. They just belt it out. And that's what I do best, is I am a belter. Having the confidence or the gut or the crazy notion that you can do that. And I'm a big supporter of anybody that they have an idea that they want to do. You just have to go for it. You just go for it. And maybe it will be a season or 2 seasons, or, it'll be a minute and then there'll be something else, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I just want people to live and live to the fullest, whatever that is. Don't hurt people, be kind. Don't judge, be kind. We're all doing the best that we can, and go for whatever it is that you're dreaming of. Yes, you might blow up and be the biggest artist in the world, or you might not be, but you might get something just so rich and so good for your life that it was all worth it. I mean, the fact that I'm in Vixen right now, Roxy, monster drummer, killer drummer, really fun to hang out with. I love her so much. Britt Lightning, killer guitar player, gorgeous, smart, snappy, sassy, amazing, really a good friend. Julia Lager, bass player, killer. She comes from Brazil. She's got this fabulous accent. She's really smart. She's an amazing player. And then me, Tyson Leslie, who is our traveling keyboard player, an amazing singer, an amazing artist. You put us all together. I mean, we love each other. We have fun together. We're supportive of each other. We help each other. We get each other. And to have that 30 plus years after I started this whole thing with the record industry is, I mean, magic. That's all I can say. It's magic. Here we are. I'll be 64 in September. It's magic that I get to be here, and I'm going to live it to the fullest for as long as I can. Yeah, well, I am a lover of life. I am a lover of a good margarita, especially on a Saturday. And I believe in being happy. I believe in happy, whatever that is. This is the first time in 20 years that I am dogless, to be honest with you. I lost all my last 3. I have a tendency to adopt senior dogs that are 14, 15, 16, that I can see them through with the rest of their life in the most fabulous way and the most kind way and fun way. And so all of my babies have left. I am without a dog at the moment, and I'm thinking about getting another one, but I'm not ready to. And we're doing so much touring that I'm definitely not ready to. If I could have a little pint-sized something, I would probably do that, but I want a big pit bull or something. So I don't know when that's going to happen. Not now is the time. But other than that, you know, during the week, I work in television. I'm a casting producer. I love TV. My downtime is spent looking for characters for shows. That's kind of what I do. I also have some really good friends, you know, Athena. I just spoke with her today. She's actually here living in the area that I'm living in. Charisse Neal, who was a part of my show, Ex-Wives of Rock. I mean, those are my girls. Those are my homies. So we go out for sushi. We hang out. I have my laptop open pretty much 24/7. I usually have classical music on during the day all the time because I like to have a really good cheery vibe. But most of my time is spent, you know, basically, well, I'm living in Palm Springs right now. So most of my time is spent indoors at the moment and on my laptop and connecting and having fun with my sisters, you know, Britt, Roxy, and Julia, communicating and just having fun with them and just laughing. I have some really, some TV shows that I love to watch. Believe it or not, I was watching the Kardashians last night. I can't wait to start watching Stranger Things tonight. I'm going to watch that. I love things like FBI and SWAT. I'm really pretty normal and basic, but I love to have a good time. I love connecting with people. My next door neighbor has a dog. We sit on her balcony and drink coffee and just laugh at stupid shit all day long. And her dog loves me and he stays here with me sometimes. So that's my life. That's what I do. You know, sushi, margaritas, dogs, friends, laughing, goofy stuff on TV. That's me. You know, life is just so good and so great. I'm excited for people to hear the single. It'll be the first time that people will hear my voice on a new song that is Vixen. It is kind of our new sound. You know, we're always going to stay true to the Vixen harmonies, but, you know, I am the singer. And so it's going to sound like me and we're going to be rocking and rolling. I'm really excited for people to hear that because I think we need to give people something new, but we are going back to the old catalog of songs. We just added something, Hard 16. We just added that to the set about a month ago. We do Stranglehold, Ted Nugent Stranglehold. Britt takes over the lead on that. And then I come in at the very end. Lots and lots of music that we're working on of the old catalog, bringing some things back, some fan favorites, and that feels really good. Other than that, I noticed that Sebastian Bach was on a commercial in Las Vegas for
the
Alone.
line. Yeah, I saw that.
And I want that for Vixen. Yes, Chuck is the guy that puts that together. Vixen is ready to go. So call us anytime. You need some rockin' chicks on that commercial. Vince Neil did it. Sebastian did it. It's time for Roxy, Lorraine, Britt, and Julia to do it. So let's go.